Hello, I'm Ashley. So, this series is talking about what to do when you feel off track, when you feel out of alignment, things aren't going the way you planned, you're disappointed, you're upset, you feel lost, you're confused on what to do next. What I'm offering is 5 ideas, 5 ways that you can kind of deal with this in ways that aren't stressful and ways that you can really tune into yourself to get out of this stuck feeling, out of this rut, out of this feeling of being off track, and how you can get back on track. These are my ideas that have helped me and clients get back in tune with themselves when they do feel off track. This is idea number 2. So if you have not watched the first one, I would recommend going back and watching the first one. I will have the link for that below because that kind of goes into why we might feel this way, what to do, why to not get overly worried about it. And I offer one idea at the end of that first video. And so this one is number 2. Stay tuned for the next few in the coming weeks. It's not like a step-by-step thing. It's not a strategies to follow. I mean, these are just ideas for you to try out. These are things that you can eventually maybe add into a daily ritual. I want you to try these things when you feel off track and see what works for you and see what's going to help you get to feeling back on track and back into that feeling of fun and enjoyment instead of these feelings of feeling lost and frustrated and confused, stressed, overwhelmed, burned out, all these things. So these are my ways to offer you getting back on track and feeling good again. So I want it to feel easy. I want it to feel simple. I'm here to share how to relax, how to begin to trust your intuition, how to listen to that little inner voice, that little bit of guidance that you may have ignored in the past, or you may have not even noticed or realized is kind of talking to you, trying to get you back on track or on the path that is meant for you. I went into a little more detail in that first video, but when we're feeling lost and off track and confused, these are just signs that we're not quite on the right path. These blocks and obstacles come up because it's meant for us to realize, wait, this isn't meant for you. It's time to kind of shift and adjust. And it doesn't have to be an immediate thing, even though we think we have to figure this out right now and we got to get rid of these feelings right now, and we can't sit with this uncomfortable, this disappointment, this unsureness. But often that's what we need to do. We need to just chill out, feel the stress, try to find ways to get rid of it, which is kind of what I'm offering, is different ways to get rid of this stress, but not just ignore it. It's ways to work through it and come out the other side, but not do it in a stressful way. I'm trying to release the stress from you, and we don't often know how to do that. And so that is my purpose, is to help you quiet down the stress, kind of turn it off a little bit, and just tune in with yourself and really find out what's true for you. In our digital age, you're watching this on your screen, and this time in our lives is so built around being on our screen, being on our phone, being on TV, like all the time. At work, when we're down, we have downtime, when we're chilling, we are 99% of the time, I bet you, on a screen. We are being bombarded with news, social media, expectations, ways of being and doing that we think we have to follow. It's just outer noise. This is the outer influences of the social media, of the news, of society, that has us thinking that we're not good enough, that we have to keep doing. It keeps perpetuating all of the thoughts that you have to have the newest and best technology, the next best car, fancy clothes, whatever it is. the best vacation photos. We have to share only the best things on Instagram to be considered cool, to be considered good enough, to be considered worthy or successful. This keeps us in a lack mentality. It keeps us spending our money because we think we have this feeling that we'll never be happy or good enough without this thing or without this status. We'll never be accepted by our friends or family. We will never be loved unless we follow these set rules or expectations that society is showing all over the damn place. And it perpetuates the feeling that happiness only comes when you spend your money on the fanciest things that provide status or high class. It perpetuates the belief that happiness comes from success and achievement and the amount of money that you spend and make. Stop and ask yourself, is this true for me? Do I actually want this thing? Do I feel like I really need this? Is this something that, I just keep seeing ads for on my Instagram that maybe it makes life more convenient, but do I really need this thing? Do I have to do what I feel like I have to do? Like, is this true for me? Have you ever stopped and slowed down to question yourself? You're in this spot, you're watching this because you feel kind of unsatisfied, you feel unhappy, you feel off track. And when you notice there's this dissatisfaction in your life, you might realize, and this is what I'm asking you to ask yourself, you realize that maybe you're living for others' expectations. These perceived expectations, what you think other people are expecting you to do or how to live or what you need to share or what you need to be doing or how do you live your life or the job that you have, the status of your job, how much money you make. These are all perceived expectations of you that you are living to. And these do not satisfy your internal happiness. So you have to stop and you have to ask yourself, is this the way I want to be living? When you realize that the way in which society is portraying how you should live your life, it doesn't actually, in fact, dictate what makes you happy. And this is when unfulfillment, this is when the unhappiness, the burnout, the overwhelm, the stress, it's when it's no longer worth living in the shoulds, following what you should be doing, what you are expected to do, what you think other people are expecting you to do. So, what do? You got to turn off the media, turn off the social, turn it off. Turn off the damn screen, okay? You got to turn off the noise of the world so that you can turn on yourself, so that you can listen to that inner voice guiding you. When you feel stressed, you feel burnt out, you feel overwhelmed, you don't know what to do, you're overthinking things, you got to stop looking to outer influences. You got to stop looking on Instagram, following what people are doing on Facebook, showing all their best highlights of the world or of their world and expecting to do the same. You got to turn that off and you got to tune into yourself. My recommendation of the best way to start is by instilling the rule, turn off your screens. And so the rule to follow is that 1 hour before bed, you turn off all screens. So you're turning off your phone, you're not going to be scrolling, you're turning off your TV, your computer, turn off all the other opinions and the worries of the world. You got to get them out of your visual and your mental space. This has the additional benefits of turning off your brain so that you can wind down for sleep. I'm guessing if you're watching this, you feel overwhelmed, stressed, burnt out, lost, confused, you're always on a screen. I bet you, okay, this is my bet for this video. I bet you $1 million that you're not sleeping very well. So, turn off your screens, all screens, 1 hour before you go to bed. And now this feels really weird. You're like, well, what do I do? That's what you got to figure out. You got to, Like the first video said, do a brain dump before bed, read a book. I don't know. You got to figure it out. Sit with yourself. It feels awkward, right? That's why we don't do it. We always turn to a screen in the 5 minutes that we have between sitting at the doctor's office or whatever, waiting for the doctor. I don't know. Like, just sit with yourself, which feels uncomfortable for people, I guess. Maybe that's why we don't do it. But listen, so why we're doing this before bed, it's because we're getting you into a new habit, a new daily ritual. And so there are additional benefits because, like I said, we're turning off the outer noise. That's going to help us wind down our mind, tune into yourself. You can have the blue light filter on, you can have the gray screen on your phone, like all that helps. You can wear your blue blockers, but actually no screens is the best option. And so this just helps your eyes adjust to the natural rhythms of your sleep cycle. It prepares your body for sleep. So melatonin actually is what dictates when to fall asleep and when to wake up, and it's based on light. So when you are sitting there in bed or on the couch, spending your time on screens up until the moment that you get into bed, and it might even be when you're actually in bed and you're still scrolling on your phone, do you wonder why you're having a hard time falling asleep? And I want to mention this, that melatonin supplements they're not the solution. Like, it's a quick fix, but it's not contributing to fixing the problem of you not sleeping. Turning off your screens an hour before bed is one of the best things that you can do to start. And so another thing that you can do is just limit your time on social media and the news, because bombarding yourself with all of the shoulds of the world leads you to thinking that you're not good enough and leads you to things you think you should be doing for a life of happiness. And happiness comes from within. It comes from you listening to your intuition, your voice, your inner voice, and following what brings you joy. So you got to start here by turning off the world and begin to turn you on. Start listening to you. Tune into you. So hopefully that helps you. Let me know if you are going to try this. I would challenge you to do it for 5 days. The next 5 days, can you turn off your screen 1 hour before bed? Let me know in the comments how it goes, or email me, share with me. I love to hear how this helps people. So stay tuned for the next idea that I have for you coming up next week. Peace.